What is going on, everybody? James at Tech Committee here, and this is the new 2020 MacBook Air. I recently upgraded to this model after using my 2013 for about 7 years, and then I have to say this has probably been one hell of an upgrade. Now I'm going to cover the internals, the camera, the display, the keyboard, and whether or not you can actually game on this computer. First, I'm going to start off with the keyboard here. Now, the keyboard is actually Apple's new, well, not really new, but kind of back to their old Magic keyboard, and I will say that this is actually a great keyboard. I know they had a lot of issues with the butterfly switch keyboard from last year, so they kind of went back to the Magic keyboard design, and it has been great. It's easy to type on, very quiet, not too noisy. Now, as far as the display goes, the display is a 13.3-inch Retina display with Intel Iris Plus graphics, and it does come with also 8 gigabytes of memory. Now, it does come with a 256 gigabyte hard drive in here, which is twice as much as my 2013 model. I think 128 was just really too small, in my opinion, and that storage just filled up like that. 256 definitely is the right way to go with this one. Now, as far as whether or not you could game on this computer, well, I'm going to put some footage up here that I recorded from my computer earlier while playing Alien Isolation. I downloaded off Steam. I had everything as lowest settings, and I was getting pretty much around 11 to maybe 14 frames per second at best. It is not playable at all, honestly. It is just slugging through this, and the fans kicked on super loud. You could definitely hear the fans. Now, I will say here, though, even though you are getting poor frame rate when it comes to this game and Alien Isolation, I don't think when it comes to gaming, you shouldn't game by downloading the games physically onto the hard drive and playing them. There is other ways you could game out there. I will show other examples here where I played Destiny 2 off of Google Stadia, and while granted it was still choppy, I feel it was more playable than Alien Isolation was. And if you're owner of a PS4, you can actually do the PS4 Remote Play, which I'll show footage of here. In my testing between Steam, Google Stadia, and the PS4 Remote Play, the Remote Play actually got the best results in my personal opinion. Now, that probably has to do with the fact that my PS4 is here in my home, so is my computer. They're running off the same network, so that's why I got the best results. If I was somewhere else and tried to use PS4 Remote Play, either at a local coffee shop or at a family member's house, I probably might get different results. But honestly, out of the three of them, the Remote Play actually showed the best results. As far as gaming goes, I think that you can game on here as long as you're using a streaming service like Google Stadia, GeForce Now, PS4 Remote Play, or the Microsoft xCloud that will be coming out later this year. As far as downloading games physically onto the hard drive and playing them, I don't recommend it unless you're going to use an external GPU. I've seen videos out there of people using external GPUs that seem to enhance and help the performance of this, but if you're using just the computer by itself, I don't recommend downloading games onto the hard drive and playing it that way. Now let's move on to the camera on the MacBook Air. Now, before I actually show you what the camera looks like on this model, I actually want to show you what the camera looks like on this, which is my Logitech C920 camera from about 6 years ago. I got this back in 2014. I want to show you what footage looks like on that, and then I'm going to switch it over to the MacBook Air. So this is what the camera and the mic sounds like off the Logitech C920. And now let's go switch over to the MacBook Air and see how it compares. Now here's the mic and the camera on the MacBook Air. Now, in my personal opinion, the mics definitely sound a lot better on the MacBook Air than they do on the Logitech C920. It's a lot less echoey. You can hear a lot more clearer sound, but the camera, as you can clearly tell here, is a lot worse. That is because the MacBook Air is using a 720p camera, while the Logitech C920 from 6 years ago is actually using a 1080p camera. So I don't really think it's really acceptable, or I think it's kind of like more baffling than anything like that, that a webcam from 6 years ago is actually doing better than the MacBook Air from 2020, especially when we have really great cameras in our phones nowadays and our tablets. Why is the MacBook Air still using 720p? Now, the one thing I almost forgot to do in this review is actually test out the speakers. Now, the thing is, these speakers actually get really loud. They are mind-blowing, in my opinion. And I'm not going to actually show you how these speakers sound based on a song or anything like that, though, but I'm actually going to show you one of my favorite YouTubers right here and kind of show you how loud these speakers can really get. So let's check it out.
I had two loves in my life, science and movies. So I decided to put myself in one of my favorite films, Men in Black, to see if you could survive it. Could you survive the massive kickback from firing a tiny alien gun? Being in close proximity to a galaxy condensed to the size of a ping pong ball, or being swallowed alive by a giant alien creature? Could you survive Men in Black?
So if you want to find out if you can survive Men in Black plus many other movies that Jake actually has on Vsauce 3, I'll leave a link down in the description below to his channel so you guys can check it out. Highly recommend it. So basically with these speakers, as you just heard, they get really loud, and I think it is fantastic. So if you're coming from an old MacBook Air like I did, definitely you're not going to be disappointed with the speakers. Now, even with a couple of issues I do have with the MacBook Air, with the cooling and with the camera, I definitely think this is a good buy. This is the dual-core i3. You could get it basically $999, $899 if you're a student. I would go with the quad-core i5. That is a better buy. It's $100 more. You just get the 256 model. That's the problem I've been having. I have not been finding the 256 model around a lot. You find the quad-core i5. A lot of it's going to be the 512, which is definitely a great buy, but not a lot of people have the extra $300 they could just kind of throw down on a new computer. But still, even 256 gigabytes with a dual-core i3, I definitely, for most people, this is going to be the computer to buy. Like I said, I definitely highly recommend it. If you're looking for a gaming computer, definitely don't look for this one. I highly recommend going for, if you're going to game on it, go for the quad-core i5 or i7. Don't go with the i3. Like I said, unless you're going to use streaming services like Google Stadia and so on and so forth. But this is definitely a good buy. Now, keep in mind, if you are going to go from the older model MacBook Airs, like I did with my 2013, you'll be switching over from the Type A USB to the USB-C type ports, which honestly, I was kind of hesitant about that anyway, though, with having to use dongles and things like that, though. But it is actually fantastic to be able to use these USB-C ports. The battery on this has actually lasted me more than all day. I've been pretty much using this, and it has lasted me from morning to night. It has been fantastic. The battery on this is actually 10 times better than my 2013 was when I first got it. And like I said, even with the couple of issues I do have with this, I do highly recommend it. So if you are in the market for a MacBook of some kind, I highly recommend the MacBook Air. Now, when it comes to things like video editing and things like that, I do some light video editing on this. And things, nothing too intensive. These videos don't require a lot of intensive editing. But if you are someone out there, if you are a content creator like myself, who does, and if you do a lot more video editing than I do and do a lot more intensive video editing, I definitely recommend going with the quad core. Don't go with the dual core. It'll run a lot more sluggish. And then even rendering on the dual core processor that's in here would take a lot longer than it would on the quad core that you get in the i5 or i7. But like I said, all in all, great computer, fantastic buy. The build quality on these are fantastic. I highly recommend it. But let me know down in the comment section below, have I answered the questions that you've been wanting to know about the MacBook Air, or the questions I have not answered that you would like me to answer in another video? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, this is James the Blue Eye Tech. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.